SocalSLC.com. Well, I can't believe it, but I'm doing another video on my fuel system, believe it or not. So my FiTech system I had kind of called the nuclear option, where I basically I pulled out every piece of my existing fuel system and redesigned it around FiTech integrated surge tank. I really like that integrated design. Anyway, got the whole thing together, and if you've been following my blog, well, then you know that it left me stranded literally minutes before I had to be on the road for a car show. So out a couple $100 for the entry fee, really crappy day, and a bunch of troubleshooting to figure out what happened. So here's a clip of me troubleshooting the FiTech pump. Alright, so if I make this connection here, this is a low pressure pump cycling, and 0 psi on the fuel pressure regulator, and then when I connect the high pressure, I'm seeing about 15 psi in the regulator. So there's definitely something going on with the high pressure pump. And so based on that test, I could tell that the pump was done and that there was some type of internal failure that was causing it to produce low pressure. So if FiTech was my nuclear option, then I guess V3.0 is the thermonuclear option. Is that worse? Anyway, so after a lot of thinking and research to see what else was out there on the internet and what I could get my hands onto, I settled on the Radium Engineering surge tank with, believe it or not, a Bosch 044 fuel pump. This is kind of a modular design, so I got just the surge tank from Radium Engineering. They also offer pumps with their surge tanks, but I opted to get my own pump. Nice, machined aluminum, anodized, pretty similar to the FiTech unit. Really, really nice in terms of just the workmanship. Here's the wiring. Let's see, harness here, easy to clip on. And look at the gauge wiring you get, nice and thick. A couple of screws, washers, seal, and a fitting. Here's what the top looks like. Very similar to the FiTech, you have 4 ports. The central one is the outlet, and these 3 are what you use for the low pressure pump and then the return to the tank. Here's the electrical connector. And then you've got this plate here, which you use to mount the surge tank. The surge tank can be oriented in 2 directions, either horizontal, like that, or vertical. I'll be going vertical. Let's take a look at these 2 units side by side. So in terms of total volume, I think the FiTech is probably a little bit more, but not by a whole lot. One of the things I like about this Radium unit is that the wiring harness is off to the side here, and it's not in the center, and it's this nice kind of mil-spec connector that you just push down. Real easy to turn the collar and get it locked down. You know you're in. With this FiTech unit, when you've got all 4 ports filled in with fittings and hoses and running all around, it's actually really difficult to access these nuts and to get them tightened down. You've got a very small angle that you can work within to get these tightened down. So what am I going to put in here? Well, this guy right here, the Bosch pump that I just picked up. The ironic thing with the Bosch pump is it's the only pump on the market that you can actually guarantee its authenticity, because it's the only pump that I know of that gives you a serial number that you can actually use to contact the manufacturer and verify that you're getting the real deal. Pretty much any other pump that's out there, I don't think has any other way to verify that it's a legitimate pump. So I know it sounds totally crazy, but the Bosch pump is the safest route for me. All right, let's see what this thing looks like on the inside. None of the screws stripped. That's a pretty good sign. Got a nice seal. The wiring looks pretty good. It's nice and potted. You see there's 2 wires coming down for each of the terminals. Here's what it looks like on the inside. Pretty simple, very basic. So if you're going to mount this horizontally, you do have to be careful with how you reinstall this end plate here. The pickup has to be pointing down towards these flats over here, because obviously you want the pickup to be pulling from the lowest point. And here's what the lower looks like. Pickup right here, fuel comes in, feeds the pump through this central port right here. You've got the Bosch pump sitting down the middle over here. Feed is coming through this setup right over here, gets pumped up and out the middle. It's a bit of a bummer, guys. I got down to the basically last step to putting this surge tank together, and I'm missing the nylon washer that's supposed to go between here and the top cap. So Radium's got another washer coming out to me, but really want to get this thing wrapped up for this weekend, so I went ahead and made this rubber washer instead. I got the dimensions from Radium, and so I think this will work. We'll put it in and we'll see if it does. There we go. There's the finished radium surge tank. It's nice that the bolts on the bottom of here are countersunk. And bonus, the hole pattern between these two pumps is identical. So this will be a drop-in replacement for me. All right, let's get this thing installed into the car. Okay, first attempted start of V3.0 of the fuel system. Fingers crossed. All right. Good morning, guys. So I finished up the wiring last night at about 10 p.m. in the evening, and only ran the car for a couple of seconds just because I didn't want to upset my neighbors. But it's morning now. It's time for a test drive. And to be honest, I've had a tough time sleeping last night. I was just so excited to get back into this car and start driving again. So here we go. The exhaust